everybody, my name is Fox91 and this is WoT Blitz. As usual, in front of us we have the American Tier 8 Premium Medium Vehicle, the T26E4 Super Pershing. Now, my personal opinion, and I said it, in the live stream which was made yesterday. In the moment, my opinion is this vehicle cannot be bad vehicle because I do not have the experience to play with it. I managed to get some bounces with the frontal glaces with this thing on some very obscure angles, and for the student I got the same result. Now, in one of the games, while I played live in Twitch, I received over 2000 damage points, which means I had dealt at least 2000 damage with this vehicle. Keep in mind, I only have 17 games with it, so there is no way for me to be very good with this vehicle. Also, I'm, let's say, not very impressed from the health pool of the Super Pershing, because the health pool of the Super Pershing is exactly the same as the T44. Overall, the Super Pershing has better frontal armor for the hull, and also better frontal armor for the turret, which I think it's pretty easy to spot, because these are only mounted plates directly on some kind of brackets to the hull. They're mounted by bolting them on or something else. I don't have any kind of clue. They may even be welded on some places, but I'm not very sure, because the model, it isn't very accurate here. The frontal armor of the hull of the Super Pershing is 177 millimeters, which is pretty badass for Tier 8 medium vehicle, to be honest. Also, keep in mind that this armor is also an spaced armor, which on short terms means you may be able to penetrate this part of the armor, but you will not be able to penetrate the main hull, because the shell will penetrate this part here. It won't have the same profile as it had from the gun, and it won't have the same amount of penetration. The side armor is 76 millimeters, which it isn't very good, but the T45 has 75. So 1 millimeter above, it's 1 millimeter above. The rear armor of the hull is 50 millimeters. For the T44 they are 45. 5 more. The turret, 101. Again, spaced armor, and also my fiance told me that these things here looked for her at least as mirrors, um, door mirrors, so I'm going to call them like that. Also, these door mirrors here are pretty nice because you will be able to penetrate them, but you won't be able to penetrate the turret. So yeah, the sight armor of the turret is 76 millimeters, but this does not include the space which is covered by the side mirrors. So if you have to fire on the turret from the side, fire in the back part of the turret silhouette. Now for the back of the turret, 76 millimeters again. This thing I think is only some kind of stowage space, I'm not very sure, and this is a sponson, maybe for the radio, not maybe, for the radio. This is the antenna here, and maybe some shells, not sure. Overall, the vehicle is very maneuverable, but also very heavy. It weighs only for a tank 50.97 tons, which for me it's a heavy vehicle, not a medium one. But yeah, the IS-5 weighs 49 tons, and it's a heavy tank. But yeah, World War II classification for the vehicles usually does not meet the standards for every single country, because again, I told you, I think in the review of the Tiger 1 or Tiger 2, that the Tiger, if it was classified only by the gun, it had to be classified as a tank destroyer because it used a tank destroyer gun. The T-3485, also it had to be classified as a tank destroyer because of the gun. But the Russians are classifying their vehicles in a different way, the Americans also, the Germans totally different way, and we're not going to talk even for the Japanese people, because the Chinook in tier 5 is as tall as a Tiger 2, which is a heavy vehicle in tier 8. And for the British, I don't have any kind of clue. Usually the Japanese and the British have some kind of idea what they are doing when they're doing some kind of military stuff, but in this case I don't have any kind of clue. But who am I to talk about that, because my country does not even have any kind of measurable amount of army in the moment. The engine is falling down from the vehicle, as you all heard. It has 550 brake horsepower. Engine this thing before it fell down. Now maybe Joe has the task to get the engine back in. With this engine and this weight, this thing can exceed 40 kilometers an hour top speed in forward motion, which is, let's say, with these wider tracks, it's very difficult to get from a vehicle which weighs 50 tons, nearly 51 tons. It has very wide tracks. This is very interesting, and I don't know what to say. The traverse rate of this vehicle is magnificent. My English is going into the drain for the moment. 43.74 degrees per second, which, if you ask me, with these wider tracks is very good. The KV1 has very wide tracks, and the KV3, and they're slow as F. I'm not going to talk about even for the KV4 or the ST1. The turn towards speed is a bit horrendous, only 24.30 degrees per second, but the turret also weighs 2 tons, which, yeah, and these 2 tons mainly are in this part over here, which needs additional suspension parts. So yeah, the time for the reloading of this gun is 6.5 seconds. From my point of view, this is very good. The gun, it isn't very big, it's 90mm gun, as you all see, but this 90mm gun can manage to deal 200 damage. In some regards it can handle even, not handle, I'm sorry, dish out 270 damage, which isn't bad. It's a very accurate gun. The sustained rate of fire for minutes is 9.2 shells. The aiming time is 4.7 seconds, and the dispersion of the ballistic trajectory of the shell which leaves this gun with this barrel from this vehicle, yes, I know how it sounds, is 0.344 meters for 100 meters, which is around 34 centimeters, which is a horrendously small amount of dispersion. The view range is 264 meters, which isn't very bad. And this is the moment for the equipment. If you plan to buy this vehicle, do not think that this thing is the same as the Pershing, as it isn't. Do not think that this thing is absolutely the same as the T44. In some regards, this thing handles like the T44, but in some regards, if you're like me, for the medium vehicles, mainly Russian medium vehicles player, you will notice that this thing lacks the turning rate and acceleration. So keep in mind that. Now for the equipment, the first thing which I'm going to do for the specialization column, holy crap, Maxwell, keep your things together. I'm going to mount the improved optics. Then I will have 290 meters of viewing range. This is a big step up in the regard of accuracy also, because you will be able to see your enemy from 26 meters more than him, and you will have these 4 seconds, nearly 5 seconds, to reload, fire the shell, and get the hell out of there. The second thing which I will mount is the defense system. So many times in the live stream I had Amurak, my Amurak was damaged so many times, my engine was damaged so many times, the crew, well, they maybe are Terminators because only the gunner from time to time, and this is it, was injured. Now for the combat power, I'm not very sure. The reason is this: the gun rammer will get me better rate of fire, so it will get me a lower amount of time for reloading between the shells. But here's the but: the calibrated shells will have better penetration values, which means usually with the armor piercing you will have 205 millimeters of penetration, and if you penetrate 200 millimeters of armor you will get around 200 damage. But if you have 215 millimeters of armor penetration of the shell, you will penetrate 200 millimeters of armor and you will get more damage. So here I'm in 50-50, I'm still thinking about that. For the second column of the specialization, holy crap, my English is haywire, I will use the improved control, because this vehicle needs to get a better turning rate, no matter on the turret or on the hull. In this case we will get both, which is very nice. In Vitality I will use enhanced armor. Yes, this vehicle is already tougher to be penetrated, but 4% to the hull armor are 4% to the hull armor. More armor, better chance to live. For the power, for the combat power, to be honest, I will use the enhanced gun lane drive, because I will lower the amount of time for aiming the gun from 4.7 seconds 4.3, and after some time, when I get to the third column, I will get even better, which the third part of the column, I'm sorry. Now the third part, vertical stabilizer. There is no need. I will use the rifled gun. Better accuracy. This is it. From 0344 I will get down to 0310. Lesser the number, better in this case. For the Vitality I will use the toolbox. 30% to Mojang repair, not report or export, repair. Speed, this is the best. For the freaking specialization, oh my god. Consumable delivery system. Because you will need your repair kit as fast as possible. Everybody will shoot in your track, everybody will shoot in your engine, everybody will shoot high explosive. You will need your consumables as fast as possible. Now, to be honest, for the third part of the column of the combat power, sometimes I think it's better to have the vertical stabilization system, but it adds only 50% to accuracy during movement and turn traverse. Without movement and turn traverse, I will be again in 4.3 seconds for aiming, and yeah, this is maybe the maximum which I could get. Average penetration and average damage in this order for this particular machine, which I think it's good, but I still don't have a hand of it. Armor piercing 205mm of penetration, 225 average damage. This is what I meant. You can also use the supercharge. The supercharge will get you 30% to the shell velocity, minus 50% to penetration, decrease with distance, which I don't know if some of you understand that, but this means that when the shell travels, the speed of the shell decreases with distance, and this is a type of energy which is kinetic energy. When the shell leaves the barrel of the cannon, it has some amount of speed and some amount of kinetic energy. When the shell hits its target from a minimum distance, it has 100% of this amount of energy. When the shell hits the target from 100 meters, it has certain amount of this energy decreased. I think this is pretty easy to understand, and when you get 50% less dispersion of this energy, it's better. But also you will need to aim faster, and these are the things which in real life World War II tankers had to play with. Now, armor piercing composite rigid, or APCR, or gold ammo. Average penetration 258mm, 190 damage. High explosive 45mm, 270 damage. Now please keep in mind, for the high explosive to deal big or vast amount of damage, it must penetrate its target. Otherwise you will get less and less amount of damage, and this it isn't for your favor. Also, again, you can use the calibrated shells to get better penetration in regard even for the high explosive ammunition, but yeah, I don't know if some of you all will prefer to get the calibrated shells or to get the gun rammer overstead. No idea. So let's go to the games. I think Joe has mounted the engine back in, and I'm going to shut the mic off because I think you all don't want to hear me anymore. Release the music, and yeah, so let's go. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If this is the case, you all know what to do. Please help me by leaving a like, commentating, sharing, even subscribing, because I need the help. Maxo91, bye bye.